Okay. So welcome everyone. Happy Mother's Day, and thank you for now for reminding us that feminine energy, masculine energy, and nurturing energy is all within us. So regardless of how what your relationship with your mother or figures or mothers are, there's a way to celebrate this and honoring yourself and the energy, the nurturing, caretaking energy around us in this world, and make it your own Mother's Day. So hope you've been doing that despite the rainy weather, sleepiness, and all that. Maybe sleepiness is a good thing considering the title of this thing, mindful rest is resistance. So it seems like I'm preaching to the choir tonight, but I like to have these slides for the newcomers. Self Meditation Center's core gathering format is inspired by Plum Village tradition. Thich Nhat Hanh is the founder of Plum Village tradition. And Brother Jiyoon is the founder of Dallas Meditation Center, and his vision is to bring mindfulness and meditation practice to people of all faith and non-faith backgrounds in an earth-based way, with an emphasis on creativity, music, and the arts. And today I wanted to bring in and invite in Sister Chang Kong. I wish I knew her better, and I'm going to work on it because I think the fact that we hear about Thich Nhat Hanh a lot, but not Sister Chang Kong, I think it's a symptom of our culture's kind of tendency to recognize male leaders. I think that is part of it, or that's my conspiracy theory. And I wanted to make space for her. Sister Chang Kong is the first ordained monastic disciple of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh and the director of the Humanitarian Project since the 1960s. She helped him set up the School of Youth for Social Service, training thousands of young social workers to bring aid to remote, war-devastated villages. This is what I got from Plum Village website, and I'm just like, that second paragraph, so succinct, but how much effort, energy, and devastation she might have seen, I cannot even begin to imagine. And I have a lot of social worker friends, and my meditation teacher after the Korean nun was a social worker, and they have this beautiful heart. And sometimes I worry for them because they stretch themselves thin, which is going to be part of the dialogue tonight. So thank you, Sister Chang Kong. Thank you, social workers. Thank you, everyone who is here to caretake and nurture the people, beings that are not receiving proper cares. So I'd like to talk about the origin of my talks because sometimes I wonder, like, what got you really deep dive in that topic? Like, I wonder what your motive is. So maybe that's just my skeptical nature, but I like to open it up because that tends to, I feel like I can connect with the listeners better. I'm in my mid-30s. I see numerous super moms trying to do it all. Career, housework, creating fun time for the little one, birthdays, more. And I see deep fatigue in their eyes. My heart goes out to them and all mothers. At the Dallas Meditation Center, I also meet mothers who are cultivating the me time. Like I made a mistake of inviting Tuesday group moms to be like, hey, bring your kids. I was like, no, no thanks. And I was like, oh yeah, this is your time. Like, yeah, that did not get traction as much for those moms because, what they were looking for is just being herself without the label of mother and the expectations that come with it. Here's my support to moms, me time. We all need it, but moms, go get it. And this was also a conversation with my friend was also the motivation. It's strong wording, his wording. He said, he and his wife, we are skipping the church service today. I'm tired of smarmy Mother's Day sermon. Smarmy. I was like, what does that mean? Oh, like mothers are great. They're all giving. Like Mother Mary. Like we don't need that. It's like, okay. So what do people need that? I wondered. I believe that it is our duty as the mindful community leaders to create space to process the suffering, or if that's too that's overwording, difficulties, rather than to repeat the same old feel good message. Mothers are great. Thanks, mom. They'll make us breakfast. So again, I dedicate my talk to all mothers, mother figures, nurturing and caretaking humans. And again, whenever I give my Dharma talk, I don't know if it adheres to the genre well. My intention for my talk is to create space for us to reflect, share, and connect. Why reflect, share, and connect after meditation? Maybe you just want to chill out. I believe that mindful dialogue brings a new level of mindfulness to our awareness, and it opens our eyes to see other possibilities than our current mode of operation. We just often get stuck in the way we do stuff and what we expect of one another depending on the roles. But it's a mindful dialogue that makes us realize, there are other ways of being. There's more opportunities for me to cultivate what I want. So, and mindful dialogue also, I think, gives more momentum to actually make a change, because thinking on your own is one thing, but when you talk to other people feeling similar things, we feel stronger to be like, yeah, like Jiyoon said blank. I'm gonna actually make something happen. We feel more anchored together because we're stronger together. That's what I believe. So a few questions to warm up our minds. If you're a mother, how are you doing? If you don't identify as a mother, how's your mother figure, nurturing and caretaking human doing? How are they doing? And since we have a small group, I thought maybe we'll open the floor and share. If you don't want to share, say I pass, feel free to do that. But I'll get us started. I'm not a mother, but my mom, she's a very caring person. She keeps adopting other people, as in like, while my parents lived in France, there was a Korean Catholic priest that she met, and she's like, you miss Korean food, I'm gonna cook Korean food. And just like, and they became best friends. And yeah, I met him and he was saying that's just the only reason that he didn't suffer from stomach irritation, because he had gluten allergy, and if Ange likes something, it's their wheat. But how is she doing? She is resisting using the robot vacuum that my brother got her. She's having some fun when I talk to her, but she's so obsessed with cleaning. It makes me worry. I'll have to ask her, like, how are you doing, really? But from what I see, I worry about how just beautiful in her idea she is. So that's what I will share. Yeah, and I'll let you
I'm Alex. So my mom passed away many years ago. I have a lot of memories. She actually gave up a career as a professor. I was born the only child. The entire focus felt guilty that it was not a choice she chose. That was her focus. So I know a lot of things, and I've learned a lot of things based on her effort to experience things. But part of it was musical education. Part of that was scientific education. Somehow my life went in both directions, not at the same time. I'm now going back from high tech into music in the last years. I identify as a composer today. But I know that she was a beautiful woman when she was young, and after that, and extremely intelligent. And I think her value was that everything you do it right, do the best you can. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of integrity. So remember all those things. Thank you for that. Sure.
Hopefully, having some treatment soon. Hopefully. And just hopefully, she's interested in many things. Like my perspective, I'd be interested in too many things. Wants to squeeze everything, but you only have so many hours a day. So that's I just
Speak up.
I'm Paul, and my mom is 80 years old. So, as we're mentioning, I mean, it's just kind of, in the recent years, just kind of watching the health. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as it used to be. And even the mental acuity, it's not quite as sharp as it used to be, although she's doing okay. Just kind of, I lived with my parents for years, actually, when I came back to Dallas. And maybe a couple of years ago, I moved out. And it was partly because it was kind of sad to watch that aging process for mom and dad. Just kind of accumulating day after day. But it's inevitable, so I'm hopefully not trying to resist it, but I kind of didn't want to overdose. Sorry, did I speak loud enough? No. I get introspective. I'm gonna lower my voice. Yeah, the gist of it is mom's old, and it kind of makes me sad to watch her health, mental and physical, kind of go downhill. But she's doing pretty good for an 80-year-old.
Me?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, Jake bowing in. My mother is, how is she? Is that the first question?
Sure.
Yeah, she's been doing pretty well over the last decade and a half. My parents split when I was about 12. I'm 30 now. And she had been a stay-at-home mom, up until that point. And after that, she had to learn she basically had to start from the beginning. She had a degree, she went into education, she became a teacher, and she is a go-getter, this woman. If she wants to do something, she's gonna get it done. And she went from working in education, but that was also in the 2008 crisis, economy thing happened, lost a job, got a job again, lost it again. It was never any fault of her own. It was just the state of the world. And I've never been more proud of a person being able to start from having not had to really work for so many years and then be able to go into it and work her way up the way that she has. She's now a diagnostician. She is, so she's not just a teacher anymore. They have a house, my stepdad and her, and they get to go on vacation quite a bit. And I'm, she's always pushed me really hard to take larger leaps. Something that I've really struggled with because her and my brain and her brain just just don't work the same. She is, you were talking about how much your mother loves to clean, almost to a fault, it sounded like you were kind of saying. And my mom is the same way. It's just like everything has to be perfect all the time. And I don't know how to maintain things and make them perfect. So that's kind of, she's kind of, over the last few years, we finally started to really understand each other and really, which is really great. So that's why I say, like, my mom and I were both continuously growing, and we're kind of learning how to communicate better with each other. And I'd say right now our relationship is better than it's ever been. And I'm really grateful for that. And she understands, just a lot of things about people, and she's learned so much in this process. She's great. That's all I can really say. She's always there. Give her a call. She doesn't always tell me the things I want to hear, but she is extremely intelligent and extremely hardworking.
Hi, Jiyoon. My mother liked to work and work hard, and she didn't like to do housework. And she told us she would rather work than cleaning. So I was brought up by a wet nurse. I was sent out. So was my brother's sister. But she cared about our education. I started to learn English when I was 13. And then she bought me a gramophone way back, 97. That tells you how old I am. I had more opportunities to learn and excel. So that's, I think, also to my mother's focus on education. But she didn't like to clean. She didn't like to cook. But she valued education, and that's what made me today that I love to learn. My story. She passed away. So
Adam bowing in. Yeah, I like this question a lot. My mother is one of the most kind and loving and gentle people I've ever known. She's a great teacher to me in that way. She's also incredibly external. She's very social. And a few people have mentioned mothers either being really into cleaning or not. And my mother is not into cleaning. She'd rather do anything but clean. And what it kind of tells me is that she's told me before, she's like, always choose people, always choose the social choice. And I see that in her a lot, that she chooses other people and she gives so much, and she cares for so many different communities. But when I think, how is she doing? I don't know. She doesn't care for herself or her home in the way that I would want her to. So I kind of have to figure out my own boundaries there. And I really resonate, with her. And like, I see how much she's taught me in terms of just kindness and, but at the same time, I see myself in her, just this needing to self-care as well, and to not give myself way too much.
Thank you.
you as a meat-free amino. Big thing if you could. With secretarial school. The, you know, just yeah, challenging any thing. She believes in God and within she was challenged.
There's been gone for like, I think because of the way her family situation was growing up, she was kind of became a caretaker, probably not necessarily by choice at a young age. And she was the oldest in a large family, and she was working by the time she was a teenager to support the family. I think a mother figure too for younger siblings. And it was they grew up, this immigrant family, and in a way that they were kind of be quiet and work, go unnoticed. And so it's really both my parents' background. So there was a bit of sternness to it, or so it to it. And it felt that my mom, she kind of had a tough edge to her. But when we were all older, when we became adults, she was a really good friend. And so kind of different deal. But she was caring in all of those things. I just felt that being in charge and taking care of things. And something that Jen said earlier that I really appreciate from both my parents is the curiosity to learn. And we're always encouraged to do intellectual pursuits and also explore creativity and arts. And I see that in each of us. So that
And Kelly, if you're available and interested, feel free to unmute yourself and share. If not, you can type in no thanks or say no thanks, however you'd like it. I'll hold the space for 3 deep breaths. Maybe another time. Thank you is what Kelly wrote. Thank you. Thank you so much for reflecting and sharing. I think by thinking of our mothers who are physically no longer present or present, I believe that does something to our psyche and our collective psyche. So thanks for sharing. Yeah. An empathy challenge. I like this passage from the Contemplation Before Sitting. We see ourselves in all people and all people in ourselves. Even if you don't identify as mother or mother figure or caretaker, can you identify and empathize with what is being described in this talk, such as imperatives to do it all, caretaking being expected of you? more questions to warm up our minds. So part of my title of the talk is Rest is Resistance. I borrowed that from the book that I'll be talking about later on. But I wanted to also create like just this space to talk about our experience of hectic mainstream culture. So a few questions for us to reflect on. How long is your to-do list? And how does it make you feel to think about them? And what gives you the feeling of rest and rejuvenation? When was the last time you did that thing? And lastly, how often do you get to do nothing? Since given the time, just a short answers to the we'll do popcorn style of like 3 people, but feel free to kind of reflect on these questions. I'll give a short answers, a long, very long. What gives me feeling of rest and rejuvenation? Making those lotus actually help me calm down. This is what I'm doing. I'm not trying to do 30 things at the same time. How often do you get to do nothing? When I meditate here, but even then, sometimes my mind is going, oh, that email. So I don't know how well I'm doing, not doing. Anybody who'd like to bow in and share? The floor is yours.
To-do list. Meet also business gives you the feeling of rest and rejuvenation. I always come in about, I would be sometimes failing if it was a school grade. I'd come in maybe out of 15, 9, get them. What gives you the feeling of rest and rejuvenation? I take a walk. There's a nice little Renaissance park. I forget what there's by the. There's a nice little trail. It's Spring. It's part of Spring Creek Nature Reserve or whatever. But sometimes I'll do that. But getting to do nothing. I used to be in this other spiritual group, and we did these retreats. It was so relaxing, but they were so slow paced. And you know, it's these beautiful piney woods in southeast Texas, and it was just and there'd be this downtime, and I could just walk and really do nothing. But I missed that since I left that group. Thank you.
Did I see you bowing, Jake?
Yeah, Jake bowing in. I think sometimes when I think about doing nothing, or I feel like I've done nothing for a while, I'm really doing something. It's just not something productive. I feel like I have a tendency to waste time, not intentionally, it just kind of ends up happening. Today, I spent a lot of time laying in bed on my phone. You know, I cooked, I made food, and then I went back and laid down again, took my dog on a walk, and then went back and laid down again. So I felt like I was doing nothing. And when I think about it, I think I'm doing nothing, but I was on my phone, or I was like listening to music, or I was doing something. So I don't know how much nothing that is. I think it would be more productive for me to truly be doing nothing. So I think actually sometimes doing something is less productive, but my to-do list, that's something I need to get back to. I was doing really well. I was working with like a therapist slash life coach at the end of or at the beginning of the year, and we were kind of walked me through, like I was making a to-do list every morning at a specific time. I would make the to-do list and I would work on getting as much of the things done in the evening as I could after work. So I would usually it was like a small exercise like push-ups or something like that, along with something productive. It might be might be cleaning something, it might be something along those lines, or if it's a creative thing, it might be, hey, like pick up the guitar and write down a few lyrics, or it could have just been any number of things I'd put on the to-do list. Being that I am pretty not great at being consistent, I've kind of fallen off, but I'm gonna, now that we're talking about this, it's like, oh, I'm gonna start doing this again. So, which is good. I can, you know, if I stop doing something, there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing it again. So I just need to remember, write these things down every morning, make a list. And yeah, that's really great. As far as rest and rejuvenation, I think this is rest and being here and just being able to sit for however long that we sit, and getting good quality sleep is rest and rejuvenation, and just going on a long walk in the evening with my dog whenever it's not super sunny outside. I think that can be pretty rejuvenating. So yeah, as far as how often do I get to do nothing, like I said, nothing is, I don't know. That's something I will put on the schedule, like set 15 minutes aside for nothing this afternoon. So yeah, Jake going out.
One more person if interested.
Really going in.
I'll just do the second question.
I think, whenever anything comes up, you know, there's always stuff to do, cool things, cool events, people to see, and I think for me, just the, you know, mindfulness to acknowledge there's only so many hours in the day, and that's pretty rejuvenating, and it kind of gets me off of the, I need to do this and this. And I found that very helpful.
Thank you all for reflections and shares. Just wanted to share this image. I don't know how well you can see. It's The Tired Mother by Cesare Vianello. And I love this one. She's just like, I don't care. Laundry on the chair. Her girl is, I think, standing on the table precariously touching the clock. She's like, Mama gotta rest. And this is kind of what I'm hoping to invite. This energy is something to invite into the space. Just, you could look for things to do in any given situation, but can you find that I'm gonna rest, I deserve it, and that's what I'm going for. So back to the title, Reimagining Motherhood. Why do we want to reimagine motherhood? Because there are reports of a collective habit energy, the hectic energy of mainstream culture. All of us are often spreading ourselves thin, I think, this energy, or at least feel guilty about not doing more. And this energy is felt even more stronger in some humans, which includes mothers and caretakers. Adrienne Rich, poet and the writer of Woman Born, Motherhood as Experience and Institution. I wanted to share this photo because her desk are just covered in books, not an inch to like, I don't know. I love messy office space. I think one of my favorite professors have space like this. Like, and they know magically, oh, this book, and just like knows where things are. Just, yeah, she's a cool person. And she, in this book, 1976, and the reason I'm bringing up this old book is that how universal and timeless this account is. She wrote, I did not then understand that we were expected to feel both a part of the Victorian lady of leisure, the angel in the house, and also of the Victorian cook, scullery maid, laundress, governess, and nurse. She articulates this feeling of you're supposed to fulfill all these roles at the same time, and that's just humanly impossible. I only sensed that there were false distractions sucking at me, and I wanted desperately to strip my life down to what was essential. So call this what cultural pressure or dialogues that you were kind of inevitably picking up the energy from, or something that people say passingly. Many women, especially mother, are experiencing this pull at different directions, pull to take care of different things. And sometimes it shows looks like virtue of hyperproductivity, but this wish for stripping down the life to what's essential. I think this wish for simplicity, we can all share that. I think that's a pretty human thing to want, because when things are simple, you're not using your mental energy constantly as much. So this was 1976. And this is a book, Overwhelmed, Work, Love, and Play When No One Has the Time. I love this cover of the book because you will see all this like scribbles of like pay the bill at a certain time and pick up my kids from the soccer game. It's just, I think it reflects the kind of hectic motherhood very well. And she wrote, working and becoming a mother had just pushed me over the edge. So I had to wonder, was it just me? Were other people more focused, better organized, or just plain better at figuring out how to make time to do good work, be a good parent, fold the laundry, and as our Declaration of Independence spells out, pursue happiness in their abundant leisure time? So this is my reflection. I resonate with all these accounts, although I do not have a child. I'm the main caretaker of the household, cooking, cleaning, laundering. I work, and I have 2 cats. It's not minor. and I recognize the same question within me. Did other people somehow figure it out, how to balance it all? And then I didn't get the memo. So this is Cheonsugwanim. This is a 1,000-handed bodhisattva in Korea that I see. And I always loved this sculptures. The idea is that there's all this needs and calls for help all around the universe, that bodhisattva sprouted 1,000 hands to take care of all of them. And as a kid, growing up in Korea, we will go to field trip, and I always was in awe at these sculptures. And I think there was part of me that wanted to be like her. And I say her because she looks especially feminine to me. I don't know. I just wanted to be like good at everything, do everything, have this energy. And this is my own journey of distinguishing spiritual aspiration versus the reality. And I think there was a some seminar that I went that said don't let the image of an ideal self nag you, because it always feels like there's more that can be done. There's version of me that knows more, does more, but don't let that nag you. And I think that was helpful advice given to me. And this picture is me taking a selfie at do you guys know where Hotel Anatoly is? Yeah, it's this very fancy hotel that I was lucky to have my therapist training for a weekend. And I don't know where they come from. They have so many sculptures. It's like a museum. And they had this 1,000-handed bodhisattva made of rose quartz from Vietnam. Yeah, and even at this time, I was like, I want to be like her, and took selfie. But I'm learning to be like, I don't have 1,000 hands. So nobody's 1,000-handed. So why do some of us act like we do? Thich Nhat Hanh points out our restless nature and how to mindfully rest in his book, The Heart of Buddha's Teaching, that I'd love to share. He wrote, even when we go to the beach or the mountains for a vacation, we don't rest, and we come back more tired than before. We have to learn to rest. Often colloquially put as, I need vacation for this vacation. All right. And this tendency is within us. And the reason I wrote mindful rest is this part. Lying down is not the only position for resting. During sitting or walking meditation, we can rest very well. Meditation does not have to be hard labor. Just allow your body and mind to rest like an animal in the forest. I love that line. Just allow your body and mind to rest like an animal in the forest. Don't struggle. There's no need to attain anything. The Buddha said, my Dharma is the practice of non-practice. Practice in the way that does not tire you out, but give your body, emotions, and consciousness a chance to rest. I don't know about y'all, but this was refreshing to me. I'm always like, I want to get better at focusing on my body sensation for longer. But, you know, like Thich Nhat Hanh always goes back to the essential of like, it's a practice of non-practice. It's so easy to distort that teaching and turn it into practice of doing practice. And this is the last text I will be introducing. And I love it when author picture is badass like that. I'm like, get it? Like this just looks so, I don't know what's the word. Just fierce. And this one's called Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto. Her name is Tricia Hersey. My friend Jasmine introduced me to this book. I love this. Founder of the Nap Ministry. Yes. And this is her take. 1, rest is a form of resistance because it disrupts and pushes back against capitalism and white supremacy. 2, our bodies are a site of liberation. 3, naps provide a portal to imagine, invent, and heal. 4, our dream space has been stolen and we want it back. We will reclaim it via rest. So she puts more fire into the idea of rest as something to reclaim, rest as something that allows us to expand beyond this condition of being positioned in capitalism, white supremacy, and the act of rest becomes something bigger. And she elaborates on her point in this passage. As a child, I would watch my grandmother, Aura, as she sat on her plastic-covered yellow couch and meditated for 30 minutes every single day. She fled her home in Mississippi with thousands of other African Americans during the Great Migrations of 1950s. Aura floated up north on a spaceship built from uncertainty and hope. As she landed in Chicago, she magically raised 8 children while dodging poverty, racism, and the invisibility of being a Black woman in America. Her commitment to resting her eyes every day for 30 minutes was radical. Her ability to demand space just to be was a form of resistance. So I don't know how your days look, what your days look like, but in honoring the spirit of, mothers who want to do so many things, whatever it may be, mothers who wants to caretake or feel like they have something to fulfill. In honoring their spirit, I'd love to set an intention to rest this week. So we go back to the questions of what rejuvenate you. When can you schedule that in? And can you write an affirmation to yourself like you're speaking to a little child? There's this practice of reparenting, meaning something that you wished you got from your parents, you give yourself. And affirmation can be an example. So I'd love to share my version of it. I love art making, and it's always at the bottom of the list. And honestly, rejuvenates me. The reason I'm doing the afternoon is so that I can do some crafts and hope more people come too. When can you schedule that in? So it's like Sunday, I'm doing some craft afternoons. And affirmation for myself is when I'm trying to juggle 1,000 things at the same time is June, let yourself lie down. No phone, no emails, you can do it. So I don't know, for those of you this resonates, if you'd like to share, I'll open the floor for, let's say, 3 people again.
Jiyoon, I always like to have a structure and a flexibility. With the structure, you get some priority things done. And I always put now, more flexibility. If you have 5 things to do 2 or 3 things, and then if you don't want to finish the list, you just relax, and there's always tomorrow. As I get older, the older I get, the more I realize actually most things are small things, and don't sweat over small things. Sometimes I say to myself, to my friends, the world goes on. If you die, if I die, if anyone dies, like I'm not that important, but anyone who, like, you think someone essential, you're essential, but really the world goes on. So there's no need to be kind of like, you have to do all these things. If you don't, the world goes on. So just be relaxed. And I say this to myself, and I just feel more relaxed, and I'll beat up myself for not doing as many things, because there's always tomorrow, there are always other people, there are millions of things going on in the world. You're really, really smart in the whole universe, so you don't have to do everything. Okay.
Thank you, Jiyoon. And I wanted to briefly reply because Rich was here. Patty made one of these lotus flowers, and Rich is the painter of those 2 beautiful fir tree and bison and the circle, and Richardson YMCA mural and more. It's funny, he said, don't sweat small things. And if you really look at it, everything is small thing. I was like, I'll try to remember, Rich. So it's funny that you're saying the same thing. Thank you for sharing.
And Adam bowing in. What rejuvenates me, lots of things, but creativity, exercise, yoga, and being around others. And a goal that I'm going to set that I'm inspired by is combining these things. And exercise and art making are typically very solo, isolating things that I do. So I'm inspired just to set that intention to bring others in, you know, have it be these things I enjoy that give me life, do them with other people who I love and enjoy as well.
Thank you. I'll hold the sharing space for 5 deep breaths. Feel free to hop in, or I'll take that as a sign that whoever wants to speak out loud has spoken. That was my 5 breath. Thank you all for being here and sharing your presence and reflections and shares. Deeply appreciate that. And may we honor Mother's Day in whatever way that feels right for us. Yeah, because I feel like it's a good reminder, even if it's not the way mainstream culture invites you to celebrate. So here's my closing gratitude and prayer. You add to the movement of resistance against the hectic collective energy. If you're in a meditation center, you're part of the movement. And may we allow ourselves to rest, be kind to ourselves and others, and be at ease. Thank you so much again, and I'll bow out here. All right, so I can hand it back to Cornell, or I can move on to announcement. All right. Let's see. All right.